Matt Smith here for 5280 Sports Network. Thanks so much for tuning in. Well, Colorado pummels the Oregon State Beavers 47-6. The Buffs without Sefo Liufau for the second straight week dominate another conference opponent and have back-to-back wins in the Pac-12 Conference for the first time ever. It is Colorado's first back-to-back wins in conference since 2010. It is also the largest margin of victory in a conference win the Buffs have had since 1992 against Kansas State. It was a beautiful day here at Folsom Field, the largest crowd ever for a head coach Mike MacIntyre Colorado football team. 46-8 announced as the final attendance. People showed up. It was gorgeous, it was loud, it was the perfect day for football, and Colorado put on a great showing behind Steven Montez once again. After winning Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week last week, Montez would go 19 of 27 for 293 yards and 3 TDs. All 3 of those touchdowns in the first half. All 3 of those TDs to Shea Fields, who finished with a career-high 169 yards receiving and 3 scores. The Buffs did everything right, including getting a Rick Gamboa interception off of a Kenneth Olabode tip at the end of the first half to make it 37-6. And from then on out, Colorado let their foot off the gas a little bit, and as Coach Mike MacIntyre said in his post-game press conference, from then on in it was pretty much wrapped up. Colorado with a very impressive performance once again as the Buffaloes take down the Oregon State Beavers. Notes from the game: the Buffs seem to have found an option at outside linebacker opposite Jimmy Gilbert, who had his best game of his career. He agreed in the post-game press conference as well. Taryn Hasselbeck played a very solid game for the Buffs at outside linebacker, and possibly a replacement, if you can even talk about that, for Derek McCartney. Now, Colorado has a very tough stretch of games ahead of them, and they have not been given a chance by a lot of fans. Their next 7 opponents, however, only have a combined record of 17-12 entering today. Only 3 of them have a winning record. The Buffs will compete in every single game the rest of this season, barring any drastic injury. Now, what was impressive about today specifically was that the Buffs showed up and proved that they're not going to lay down for anybody. They're not going to come off a huge win last week at Oregon and come out and not perform up to expectations, but the Buffaloes are here to stay, and that's what Coach Mack said after this game, is that he was very impressed that his team came out and made a statement that they are for real and they're legitimate in this Pac-12 conference. And in the Pac-12 South and all across the conference right now, where things are a bit cattywampus, this Buffs team has a real shot, and today was another test passed by this Colorado Buffaloes team. One big takeaway from this game is Colorado has found their kicker. Davis Price, his first career field goal, 54 yards. Chris Graham had been doing the kicking up to this point after Diego Gonzalez had gotten hurt. Graham gets another extra point block this week. That's 2 in 2 weeks. MacIntyre puts Davis Price in there and gives the freshman a shot. Price had been doing the kicking off. If you'd listened to No Bull Just Buffs, we had expected to see Price kicking off again this week, but he really stepped up. And if Colorado can rely on him the rest of the year, given he's a true freshman, the Buffs will have solved a big issue after Diego Gonzalez went down. And it's very impressive to see Davis Price's demeanor. He was actually in the press conference post-game, very confident, very nonchalant, which is what you want out of your kicker. And I think Colorado has found a solution for a little while to come here. Looking over final notes from the game, Shea Fields, an incredible game. I think that was something that the Buffs were trying to get him involved just a little bit more. Devin Ross, who had come in today with 25 catches for 300 plus yards and 5 touchdowns, was held to 1 catch. But that's going to be the nature of this Colorado Buffaloes offense. There's a lot of talented receivers on this team, and week in, week out, it will be a different guy. Credit to the defense, who played outstanding today. A lot of pressure on the quarterback. Like we talked, Jimmy Gilbert, best game of his career by a landslide in my opinion. Rick Gamboa with another interception off that Olabode tip, and Tedrick Thompson came up with a very athletic play to pick off a pass at the end of that game as well. Colorado looked very good today, and I think this was a good confidence builder heading into USC next week, a team that they have not beaten in the Pac-12 conference. And this is just another step in the climb upwards in the top of the Pac-12, and we'll see if the Buffs can continue to ascend. I think they will. We'll talk about it on No Bull, Just Buffs this week. Huge game coming up with USC. As always, we really appreciate your time. I am Matt Smith from Folsom Field for 5280 Sports Network.